we're going to be making a non-persistent Linux flash drive on this. So what you're going to need is a flash drive with a decent read-write speed, so anything over $10 will be okay for this. It won't be lightning fast, but it'll do the job. And you want it to be about 16 gigs in size. If it's larger than that, that's sufficient. If you're smaller than that, you might run into issues, but 16 would be a good amount. So you can do this in Windows with tools like Balena Etcher or Rufus. Those are two very popular ones. However, I'm going to do this in a Linux virtual machine to show you how it's done through Linux. So the first thing you need to do is get your ISO files. I've already downloaded mine. I have 3 of them. I have Kali, Pop! OS, and Zorin. The way I got those is you go to their website, and so in this case, Pop! OS download, or Ubuntu, or Kali. Once you have that, we're going to use the dd command to copy the contents of the ISO over to a flash drive. So you must ensure that your flash drive is not mounted to the operating system. What that means is if the operating system is viewing the files, it can't overwrite them fully. So you need to unmount the drive. And let's plug it in and get started. So I'm going to connect this to my virtual machine. If this is running as your host, then you won't get this. I do ls block again. And you'll see there is my host operating system. This SDB or SCSI Disk Bravo is my flash drive, and it has 2 partitions. So I do need to change this. The first thing I need to do is format it. So hold on a minute. Actually, we need to unmount it first. So it'd be sudo lsblk. And then we're going to type sudo umount, not unmount, umount device SDB wildcard. So if there's partitions, it'll unmount them all. We'll get the confirmation that it was unmounted. Let's run the command just to double check. And you will see that it no longer is attached to my filing system. Good. Now let's format it. Sudo make file system. vfat is FAT32. Dev SDB. So from left to right, as a super user, make a file system that's FAT32 and do it to SCSI Disk Bravo. Now it's giving me an error saying that I need to override it, so I'm going to do that and do -I. Give it a moment. This takes about 15 seconds to do. If you want it to be exFAT, it would be makefs.exFAT. If you want it to be extension 4, again, you just make it dot whatever file extension you want. All right, it's finished. So the flash drive is prepped. We look here, the SDB 1 and 2 are gone. It's just the drive. It's completely empty. So we're going to use the dd command, sudo dd. Now, this command is a powerful tool that copies from one source and puts it to another. The input file and the output file must be correct, because if they are reversed, this program is jokingly called Disk Destroyer. So be careful. Sudo dd input file. So the source is, for me, in my documents. So if I print my working directory, this is the location of my ISOs. Yours will most likely be in your downloads folder. So I say home, my username, documents, ISO, and then I'm going to do Pop! OS for this one. And then my output file is going to be device SDB. Now we could leave it at that and it'll work just fine. It's going to be a little slow, but it will work. The reason it's slow is the byte size is not changed. So to be compatible with older systems, they made it so that it would work. The read-write speed on older systems was a lot slower than modern ones. So I'm going to put in about 4 megs. You can make this higher if you know that you're going on an SSD or even higher on an NVMe drive. But I'm going to just make it 4 megs. And the last command, actually there's 2 more that we want to add. Hold on just a moment. There's a command that we type in iflag equals full block. And the last thing, the very last thing, is to type in sync. Now, the semicolon means when that command is done, run the second command. This is just verifying that what the byte, everything that was copied is correct. So if you want to know more about these commands, you can type in, you can type in info dd or info sync, and it'll give you information about that command. So just for dd, for say, this is the informational guide. It's a little easier to read than the manual. I could now search for iflag, and you'll see exactly what it's for, and it explains it nicely. So going back to this, I'm going to say, again, as a super user, copy the input file of Pop! OS, the ISO, and put it to the output file of my flash drive. This is going to take about 10-15 minutes, so I'm going to pause the video after doing this. But, oh, I almost forgot the status. So if you type in status equals, and progress, I believe is what we need to put in. I'm just double checking here. Yep. So status equals progress. That will give us a progress bar at the bottom that says we've done this like X amount out of the total. So I'll show you. So once we get this going, you can see, there we go, how much it's copied, the rate it's going at, and that's a decent speed. So again, I'm going to pause the video and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, it is now finished on the flash drive. So let's eject it and test it on a laptop. So to eject it, again, you can type in lsblk, just as a reminder that it's SDB, but it's not mounted. So we can type in sudo eject device SDB. Now, in case that is challenging or not working, it's also the same as that button right there in the file manager. So we're just doing it through terminal. So now we can eject it. So at this point, we have a flashed, ready to use non-persistent Linux flash drive. So I'm going to plug this into my computer. And the boot order on every laptop changes. Mine is F12. Yours might be F9, escape. Sometimes it's F10, but it's usually going to be F12 or escape. Sometimes delete. So it is currently booting up. I know it's a little hard to see, so let me move a little closer. But one of the options is General UDisk, which is what I just plugged in. That's the flash drive. So, and you can see that it's reading the flash drive, and we have a trial of Pop! OS. So this is, it says try or install Pop! OS. So this means it worked. So just be careful when you plug in a flash drive to your laptop to click try and not install. If you click install, it will overwrite what's on the existing drive. So just remember, try it, don't install it until you're ready to install it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a nice evening.